Hey everybody, it's Dick here. Today I'm looking at the Benelli Leoncino 500 in the color red. I don't really know what to make of this bike. It's one of those bikes that is handsome enough to make you look twice, but on closer inspection you recognize that it's seemingly playing a part and it's trying to trick you into something. It is, however, pretty good at what it does. The headlamp and indicators are attractive. The cafe-inspired design reminds me of the Ducati Scrambler. It has inverted forks, a clean handlebar, an instrument cluster, minimal front fender, tucked away radiator. All are smart choices. Looking closer, the frame is a letdown and looks like a cheap bicycle frame. The tubular rear swing arm is less than inspiring. The vinyl seat cover looks cheap, as do all of the snaking zip-tied wires. The taillights and indicators are as handsome as the front lights. The exhaust and the rear shock scream economy, as do the brake calipers. Don't look too close at the engine or you might be assimilated by the Borg from Star Trek The Next Generation. The engine casings are trying very hard to remind us of the Ducati L-Twin. It is a 47.6 horsepower, liquid-cooled, fuel-injected, 499cc twin engine. The instrument clusters are compact but look and feel cheap. The beefy handlebar is nice, as is the efficient and minimal cockpit. The reclining pear-shaped instrument display is nice, but a letdown by the protective plastic laid across the top. The bike is handsome, and is better looking the further away you stand from it. And I am a sucker for a good front fender head badge. Let's take it for a ride. Hey everybody, it's Dick here. Today I'm on the Benelli Leoncino 500. I had a request on one of my videos to see if I could take one of these out for a ride. False neutral. It's a 500cc engine, and it shares the engine with the Benelli Adventure bike offering. And it's a little punchy. It's a nice little kind of punchy 500. It's a little buzzy and it feels a little small for 500, but it's got high revs. I mean, it revs a lot higher and it's a lot more sporty than the 500 EFI in the Royal Enfield. The seating position's a bit odd for me. My feet are a little back and the saddle is pitched forward a little bit, so I seem to be sliding forward and trying to adjust myself further back on the saddle, so that's a little uncomfortable for me. There's a lot of vibrations, just under 4,000 RPMs in my hands and my feet and my butt, and the saddle is hard. The saddle is very firm, but it's got a nice compact size to it. The handlebars seem really wide, kind of a little bit unnecessarily wide, but not uncomfortably so. If I was to get this with my kind of small feet, I would have to reposition the clutch pedal because I'm getting a false neutral and I'm getting kind of false shifts. I'm clicking up as far as I think I need to, but I'm staying in gear. So I'm really having to lift my toe to get into gear. But I think that's just an adjustment issue on the clutch pedal. It's a firm suspension. The fit and finish of this bike is actually a lot better than I expected. It's Chinese made, and you know, in motorcycling and automobiles, that's usually a disparaging comment. Oh, it's made in China. You know, my Enfield's made in India, my Yamaha's made in Taiwan, the Honda I'm looking at is made in Indonesia, so I'm not too concerned about something that's Chinese made. I mean, my phone and my computer are Chinese made, and they're fantastic. So I think if the quality control is right, the manufacturing coming out of China is going to be as good as anywhere else. And in most respects, this bike reflects that. This is, on its face, well built. I mean, it's as well built, or maybe a little better well built than my Enfield. And the little features that they have, like this dash is great, this display is great. It's a little hard to see in the sunlight. I don't think it's the display's fault. I think it's the protective plexi over the top of it that's reflecting the sunlight. I don't know if I could change the brightness on it, but we're gonna check it out. Oh, it's shining right in my eyes now. I'm blind. All right, so the display, it looks cool, but that protective glass over the top is problematic. It's got a nice sound. It actually sounds a lot like a triple. It sounds kind of like a Triumph Speed Triple, or, you know, the engine kind of gurgles a little. But it's got a nice sound to it. But the acceleration is great. I mean, it's very punchy. It's good in the corner. took it a little cautious there because I didn't know if I'd have the traction, but it was good in that corner. I think you could throw it into corners. The switches are a little kind of budget. Not so much the housing or the actual toggle switches, but there's this indicator switch looks very cheap to me. And there's another one over here, red one, which is a designated hazard. Oh, that was rough. Oh, that hurt. A designated hazard switch, and that's not only was that confusing to figure out what that was, but that looks really cheap to me. But the rest of it, I mean, that looks a lot like the compact XSR housing for the switches. It's an Italian name with headquarters in Germany, because that's where the headquarters were before the Chinese multinational bought it. Produced in China. That rear brake is a little soft. Or, you know, maybe it's not soft, but I had to drop my foot really low. I think these pedals can be adjusted a bit better. I think they'd be better with a notching down on the clutch pedal and one notch up on the brake pedal. It might be soft, I don't know. Springy at least, but I don't know if that affects the action. Let's listen to this. Ooh, that display is nice. Oh, I didn't realize how nice that display was until I was in the dark. In the sunlight, not so much, but that display was cool. Seat height's nice and low. It's got a good stance. You're kind of upright. It's sporty, but it's not too aggressive. Another false neutral. God damn it. That's an issue. If you didn't know it, you could probably think that this was European made. It has a nice design to it. It's really well designed. It's a really good looking bike. I've been riding it for a while, and it is a bit tingly, it is a bit vibey, but it's not uncomfortable yet. So I think there's something to be said for that. And the engine is really smooth. The transmission is really smooth. That rear brake is very soft. It's not clunky getting into gear. It's hard to get into gear, but it's not clunky in gear. Ooh, there's a real buzz right in the front of my seat, if you get my meaning. And in any other context, that would be fun, but I have the urge to take my hands off the handlebars to adjust down below. It's got a smooth power band, gotta say that. It's like really nice coming up to speed. It's not working hard. It's got a nice sound to it too. It's very predictable in what you can do. I don't know this bike very well because it's my first time on it, but it's predictable. Not too confident in those brakes. Dual rotors on the front. Yeah, that's got some speed. Holy crap, fourth gear, 60 miles an hour, and it's not even working hard. Oh wow, this is a fun motorcycle out on speed. A lot of buffeting though with the wind. I mean, it is naked-ish. I wonder if they're still calling these things naked. I don't know what this is. Heritage Sport Cruiser bullshit. Real comfortable at the light. I'm not completely flat-footed with both feet down, but very near. Wow. Oh, it's got some punch. The more I'm riding this, the more. Yeah. That's not bad. Instantly to 60. I'm at 70. Holy crap. This 500 pulls. I can't see the display because the sun's shining. What? How fast am I going? 80 miles an hour. Holy shit. The fact that I can't see the display with the sun behind me is a real concern. But the fact that I'm going 80, it does not feel that fast. This bike, what gear am I in? Fifth gear. Shit. I got another gear. Fuck me. Fuck me! Holy crap, this just keeps going. I'm at 6,000 RPMs. I don't know how fast I'm going. I had to be up near 90. That's dangerously fast, especially when you can't see how fast you're going. The tingle in my balls are still going strong, but not so much in my hands. I don't know if I'm distracted by the wind in my chest, but wow, sun in my eyes again off that display. What the hell? That sucks. When I went under that underpass, it looked like I was going 80 something. It's got so much. 91, 93, 95, this just keeps going. I wasn't redlining, I wasn't near redlining. This is a very interesting motorcycle. I had written Benelli off. I mean, I'm going 70, I feel like I'm going 40. This thing, this is sweet. I wonder how much this costs. This thing is blowing my head back. you know, you see where the budget is. You know, these little fittings and things, the mirrors, but oh, who knows? Maybe it's not budget. I don't know how much this thing costs. Ooh, there's an ABS button. I wonder what that's all about. I like how that's hidden there too. I don't know why you turn the ABS off on this thing. This is not an off-roader. But if they're sharing the engine and the guts with that Sport Tourer Adventure version, then I could see. Ooh, yeah. These guys threw on their brakes and this thing just nimble. This is dangerously fast though, because it doesn't feel like it's that fast. Out in the highway, those wide handlebars don't feel as wide. Actually, I think that might be the right width for that. There's a little bit of space there. You could probably move in on it. Let's see what the green lane's about. F***ing false neutral. We gotta really pull that up. Ooh, yeah, this is the road. The key about these little single-track roads in England is not to die. It's got really nice pickup. It is buzzy. I wonder if I'll get tired. Not tired yet. Been on a while, but it's buzzy. The seat has a little kind of cafe racer hump right at your butt, so you can kind of slide back into it, but it is pitched forward, so you're kind of sliding away from that. I'd like the seat to be a little flatter. Yeah, I'm getting these false shifts that, even downshifting, I'm getting a little bit of a false shift. Let's see the Yep, stiff suspension. It's fine though, because it's making me a bit more confident in the curves. The buzz in the foot pegs too. Yeah, the whole thing is generally buzzy. Not any more buzzy than the Ducati Monster, and actually probably less buzzy than the Ducati Monster. It's not bad at slow speed. You know, a lot of bikes, if they can perform out on the highway at the slow speeds, you got this kind of jerkiness. It doesn't really like being in gear, but this third gear has a good range. Let's see. Oh wow. So now I can see the display. Redline is 10,000 RPMs. I don't know anything about this bike. I literally had a YouTube comment that said, see if you can find one. But I'm really glad they told me to do that, because this really competes with that XSR I was riding. It's a fun little bike. Suspension is stiff. My butt is getting numb. I do like the sound of that exhaust. I feel like that indicator switch is gonna break soon. You know, there's a handful of niggles. It vibrates everywhere. The seat's pitched forward. Some of the switches and stuff feel cheap. The brakes are soft at the back. The pedals on either side need adjusting. Hopefully that's all it is. The false neutrals and missing gears. You know, I think there's a handful of issues. But the takeaway is that this bike is pretty fantastic. I love being surprised. False neutral. Yeah, already to speed. It's so smooth how it ramps up in its speed. It's not jerky. It's not abrupt. It's not working hard at all. It's a 500. I mean, this is a very punchy, high-performing 500. I keep forgetting I have a 6th gear because I'm at like cruising speed. Going 65, 70 miles an hour in 5th gear thinking that's it, and then I have another gear. What I do like too is that there's a gear selector on the indicator reminding me that I'm only in 5th gear. I never used to rely on those things. I always just listened to the engine. But more and more, when I'm out cruising, and especially I'm riding so many different bikes and wondering which ones have 5th gear, which ones have 6th gear, I'm actually enjoying the fact that it has a little indicator. I don't think you should learn to ride a motorcycle relying on that, but it's nice to be reminded what gear you're in. It's nice to have that dual disc on the front, because coming down from speed, this thing gets to speed so fast. In neutral, fuck me. This thing gets to speed so fast, you need that extra bite. And not in gear. Is this what I want? Who knows? 3rd gear, 60 miles an hour, 6,000 RPMs. I got 3 more gears. What the fuck? 4th gears, 5,500 RPM, 60 miles an hour. This thing is awesome. I mean, there's a couple of issues with fit and finish. You look at it, there's some cheap bits, but generally, how f***ing cool. Cool little engine this is. I was riding a 900 XSR, and this thing competes. Oh, neat. I'm gonna be thinking about this bike a lot. I'm gonna be thinking about this bike the way I thought about the Himalayan. Whether it's as good as I think it is. I'm gonna want another ride on this after some time to digest. Listen to that. That's cool. Come on. False neutral. You can't be cool when you throw a false neutral. I felt cool right up until then. I don't like that. Fourth gear, 6,000 RPMs, 61 miles an hour. 2 more gears to go. Yeah. What are we talking? I mean, 500cc engine, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. I was cruising in 5th gear, 65 miles an hour going, I wish I had another gear. That's awesome. They thought about it. They designed it for purpose. I'm sure they compromised places. You can see the places they compromised when you look at the bike. But they did not compromise in performance. False neutral. Do not like that.
If you like that video and you want to see more like them, hit like, share, and subscribe.